In a quiet suburban town in America lived a man named David Miller. He was in his early 40s, worked at a corporate office, and lived what most people would call an ordinary life. But inside, David often felt restless. He believed that in today's world, people only cared about themselves, and kindness rarely came back. One cold autumn morning, while rushing to work, David stopped at a small coffee shop. The line was long, and people seemed impatient. In front of him was a young single mother with her little daughter. She looked exhausted, her clothes slightly worn, and she was counting coins nervously to pay for a small cup of coffee. Without thinking too much, David gently stepped forward and said, "Don't worry, I've got this." He paid for her coffee. The woman's eyes widened, and her little girl smiled up at him. "Thank you, sir," she said softly. David smiled back and left, not realizing that this tiny act of kindness would set off a chain reaction. Later that week, David was driving home when his car suddenly broke down in the middle of the road. Frustrated, he stepped out, unsure what to do. Just then, a mechanic's truck pulled over. The driver, a cheerful young man, said, "Need a hand?" Within minutes, he helped fix David's car. When David asked how much to pay, the mechanic shook his head. "Don't worry about it. A stranger once helped my mom when she was struggling. I promised myself I'd pass it on." David's heart sank. Could it be? Was this connected somehow? He didn't ask further, but drove home thinking deeply. Weeks passed and life moved on, but then came a night that changed everything. David was at the grocery store when he saw an elderly man trying to carry heavy bags. No one seemed to notice him. Remembering the kindness shown to him, David rushed over and helped. The old man was grateful and told him, "Son, what you do for others always finds its way back to you." That line echoed in David's mind, "What you do for others always finds its way back." Months later, David himself faced a true crisis. The company he worked for suddenly downsized, and he lost his job. He worried about bills, his mortgage, and his family. Days turned into weeks, and he began to lose hope. Then, out of nowhere, he received a call. A small business owner had heard about him through a mutual contact. The voice said, "She told me about the kind man who paid for her coffee. I didn't forget. I could use someone like you at my company." David was speechless. The same woman, the one he had helped, was connected to the opportunity he desperately needed. It was at that moment David finally understood. Karma wasn't some magical force that instantly rewarded or punished. It was the ripple of human actions, traveling further than the eye can see, eventually circling back. From that day on, David lived differently. He no longer saw kindness as something extra or rare. Instead, he saw it as a silent investment, one that always returns in unexpected ways. He started volunteering at local shelters, mentoring young interns at work, and helping neighbors without expecting anything back. And slowly, he noticed his life becoming richer not with money, but with peace, friendship, and purpose. One evening, while walking with his teenage son, David shared what he had learned. "Son, remember this. Every action we take is like dropping a stone in a pond. The ripples spread far beyond what we can see, and one day those ripples will return to us. That's what people call karma." His son nodded, quietly absorbing the lesson. And for the first time, David realized that the story of karma wasn't just about him. It was about the legacy of kindness passed on to future generations. Pacing suggestion for video here: you can slow the narration with visuals. Show the young mother helping someone else later, the mechanic offering free service to another driver, the old man sharing wisdom with the child. David's life becoming more fulfilled. All these moments reinforce the cycle of giving and receiving. So, the next time you wonder if your small actions matter, remember David's story. A cup of coffee, a helping hand, a kind word. It may seem small to you. It can travel across lives, across time, and eventually return to you when you need it most. That is the true power of karma.